breaks in. How you gonna go? Shot down on the pavement, or waiting in death row.
Hello, my name is Jermaine. IOPS, International Organization for Participatory Society, is a holistic approach to politics. It's looking at the bigger picture of gender, race, class, and politics. And we need it. There was a moment that radicalized me truly against the state and authority in general. We were coming home from school one time, and I went to school in the city, but we lived in Brooklyn. So we had met like these cards they give you, these school cards to get on the trains. So we tried to use one of these cards to get on trains, from Brooklyn going to school, but it was like a little bit after school. It was me, my friend Malcolm, and another two guys, and we went and we tried to use it. We got through, but there was a cop, and the cop flipped out. But he specifically targeted my friend Malcolm, and really targeted him, and this whole thing escalated. Well, Malcolm got basically brutalized by this cop, and so they took him back to the station, and I went to file a complaint. And as I filed the complaint, this is a young age, probably 16, 17, I was filing a complaint against this officer after he was being antagonistic, like, you want my badge, come here and look at it. All this kind of like, showboating that cops tend to do. Yeah, so we went back and I filed a complaint and nothing happened. And in the absence of anything happening, I became a little bit radicalized. That was the first time I think I became radicalized. Now, I worked for Critical Resistance, but I was a part of anarchist people of color. Mm-hmm. We kind of shared the same space. Mm-hmm. It happened that one of the members there was like also a part of APOC and a part of Critical Resistance. He kind of held both things, so we kind of met there. So I did a little work with Critical Resistance, but mostly with anarchist people of color, which was anarchist people of color I can speak more to, which was formed because we were tired of the white male anarchists just, kind of decreeing what the next black bloc was going to be, or what the next whatever was going to be. We wanted to kind of organize within ourselves and see what kind of formations we would come up with as far as people of color, because you feel kind of isolated in some of those meetings, yeah, but Critical Resistance, I think, does great work around the prison industrial complex. I mean, it's all class, racism, and gender, and these things, once again, I mean, to separate them is just, not, I don't think it's effective. Well, I was in South Africa and was doing work with the Western Anti-Eviction Campaign, which is a movement that kind of spawned after the ANC took power, because ANC didn't really deal with the factors of poverty and housing in South Africa. And then when the World Cup was rolling around, 2010 World Cup in South Africa, they were basically displacing people from their, where they were, to move them out to further places away from like where their communities were, where they went to work, where they did anything, where their hospitals were. So there was a lot of upheaval about that in South Africa. So the Western Anti-Eviction Campaign kind of formed around that, and they had like big movements that they would do in order to like taking over highways or going to the constitutional courts in Johannesburg. So I just kind of plugged in with them and just kind of was getting a grasp of the movement. When I was in Chiapas, it was during the other campaign when the Mexican elections were going on, excuse me, and they got a space in Dolores Hidalgo or whatever Zapatista community they were in, and they invited people from different sectors of civil society. I went to two meetings. I went to one meeting when they invited activists, they invited workers, they invited farmers, they invited, women's groups, they invited all these different kind of special interest groups, to some degree, to their communities to discuss their grievances and what kind of changes they want to see in their lives. They brought the people to them. They gave them a space to come, a space to eat, a space to sleep. They made all accommodations for us. And that's brilliant, because that just branches out who you're dealing with, who your, constituency is. So I think I learned from that it's about going into the communities or finding a place for the community to come to you. In our case, probably in North America, it's probably more going into communities because people have different biographical availabilities, meaning they have different, accesses to time, space, and work, because they have children, because they have certain things. They're not always available to come to meetings sometimes. Sometimes they have to find health care, I mean child care, or other things. So maybe going to them is what, you look at Jehovah's Witnesses, though they're crazy, but they have kind of the right idea in some aspects. They go to you, they come knock on your door, which is an interesting model. I mean, I close the door on them, of course, but it's still an interesting model of how to, approach people and get people involved. In our cases, I think it's going to be going to people's meetings, like community meetings, or going to events that people are hosting, the people we want to see in an organization. Like we talk about women of color, or the marginalized, or people that we feel need to be empowered. We have to go to them. The most disorganized thing I think I've ever been a part of was the U.S. military. So, yeah, they're not efficient. They do get things done, but at a cost of the people who are doing it. Yeah, the people kind of go crazy. They kind of lose their minds sometimes, either through suicides or going on bases and shooting people up. So I mean, or going across other countries and killing people brutally, as I have witnessed and seen. I just think that's it. The lie that this bureaucracy is so effective and efficient, because it's not in almost every instance. So those kind of models are not the kind of models we need to be looking at all, actually. Yes, organizing is hard. It's hard work, and it's not immediately rewarding. And it's not, you shouldn't be discouraged because it's not immediately rewarding. The things we lay now sow the seeds for the future, and you have to invest in that. And it's pulling up your sleeves, and it's doing the work. It's not about internets. It's not about technology. That's a part of it, but that's not the whole of it. Online members mean nothing. You have to go into communities. We have to go into communities, and we have to start finding safe spaces to discuss our ideas with people, real people, not just the same people we see every day. And until we start doing that, nothing will happen. But it's work. The most promising aspect of our experience at IOPS so far are the community that we're building. It's in its early infant stages, so there's a lot of potential. And meeting all these different people, all these different kind of influences is interesting. All these activists that are seasoned, and the things you can learn from them are one thing, but also engaging in these politics and taking them to people is another thing. Like, I kind of transform when I have to explain what IOPS is to somebody, about the holistic approaches of the ideas. So it kind of changes me when I have to do that, because I realize my understanding of it deepens. So that, and it's a model that we need to see, I think, in the future. Not the only model, maybe, but definitely one of them. I believe the children of the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way.
What they fear, black intellect with the passion of a tear. Engineer sonic wax to your ear. How about a Bronx cheer for the new Amir electioneer? With the cavalier idea of sending you to die over there, they dare to appear like they really care. Way back in the rear, till it's clear to commandeer the whole affair. Make Houdini money or whatever. Say it loud, say it clear. Houdini money or whatever.